Now, with the president heading to Africa, joining us here in the studio to discuss the trip is VOA Southern Africa Bureau Chief Scott Bobb, right here in our studios. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you very much.
It's good to have you.
And covering Mr. Obama's visit in the Ghanaian capital, Accra, is Straight Talk Africa host Shaka Ssali. Hello, Shaka. Shaka.
I am hugely terrific. How are you, Vincent?
I'm very fine. Good seeing you. You appear like you're standing before some very significant place there. Can you explain to me where you are and what is the significance of that place?
Very significant indeed, Vincent. This is where the journey for the decolonization of Africa started back on March 6 in 1957, when founding president of Ghana declared the Gold Coast to be independent from the British and to become Ghana, of which of course he became the first prime minister. So what you are seeing behind me is his memorial, which is symbolic of the fact that his dream, his vision of liberating the entire Africa was cut short because of the coup that toppled him from power back in 1966.
Shaka, we're going to come back to you shortly. We're just going to throw a question to Scott, who is here in the studio with us. You know, Scott, we keep hearing how everyone is questioning why Ghana, why Ghana. Should other African countries like, say, Botswana, Tanzania, South Africa, which have equally been credited with being democratic, feel slighted, or is it just one of those things?
Well, I think perhaps Kenya might have felt a bit slighted since Mr. Obama has ancestral roots in Kenya. South Africa certainly is a democracy that just held very clean, transparent elections, but relations between the U.S. and South African governments have occasionally been strained over some issues, particularly while South Africa was in the Security Council. So Ghana is a logical choice. They too have held very good elections. An opposition candidate was elected, and this is not just the first time. They have 12 years of uninterrupted true democracy. So I think everyone understands.
Well, coming back to you, Shaka, in Accra, Ghana. Before I ask you the question, let's play a clip from the interview you held yesterday with the president of Ghana, and then we get a response from you on that.
There are some people who have been asking the $1 billion question, why Ghana? Why would President Barack Obama, a man whose father came from the Republic of Kenya in Kogero Nyanza province, why would he choose to come to Ghana in West Africa?
Luckily for us, Shaka, President Obama has given an indication of why he's coming to Ghana. I believe the first reason is a peaceful transition that we recorded in Ghana. Mind you, this is the second time in our history that one civilian government has handed over peacefully to another. And I believe that this is something that he wants to commend. The second one also is our democratic credentials. I believe that this is something that he admires. And he wants to seize the opportunity to send out positive signals, especially to our brothers and sisters in Africa, that this is the way to go. I believe that there is another reason which he may not have articulated. This is homecoming for him. He's an African, and every country in Africa is the same. So if he decided to come to Ghana, well, it is because he also wants to touch base with his kith and kin on the African continent.
Now, Shaka, give us a sense of what the mood is on the streets of Accra and across the country there.
Well, first of all, Vincent, I have to say that the mood here is ecstatic. Everybody is talking about Barack Obama. There is a sort of Obama mania in Accra that is very unmistakable. The only concern some of these people have is that they may not, after all, get a chance, in fact, to see President Barack Obama, because earlier there were plans that he would appear at Independence Square, which is not very far from where I'm standing right now. But because of the weather, Vincent, because of the weather, it has made it incredibly difficult for the organizers here to schedule him in an area that could be, of course, secured and at the same time give the ordinary Ghanaian an opportunity to access him. But I gather that at least when he goes to Cape Coast on Saturday, at least there, he will be able to interact with the ordinary Ghanaians.
Shaka, I'm going to ask you one question, and I think Scott also has a question for you. Of course, President Clinton has been there, President Bush has been there from the U.S. Would you say there's a different excitement or a different level of excitement and expectation now because it's Mr. Obama?
There's no question about it. I think the sort of excitement that you find here would be really looking at President Clinton, President George W. Bush, all rolled into one. This is really huge, very, very special.
My question, Shaka, is are there any great expectations that you've noticed from the Ghanaians from this visit and from Mr. Obama and because of his heritage?
There's no question about that, Scott. The people here, I think, feel more or less in the same way that the people in Barack Obama's father's birthplace of Kogero in Nyanza province in the Republic of Kenya actually feel. They have adopted Barack Obama as one of them. They look at him as their brother. They look at him as one of them. And especially because they say that he reminds them of their own son of the soil, Kwame Nkrumah, a man, of course, who got independence for Ghana back in 1957, but also went on to say that the independence of Ghana would be meaningless unless it was linked to the total liberation of Africa, which didn't happen, of course, until 1994, when South Africa became independent under the Madiba, Nelson Mandela. They sort of look at Barack Obama in that context, an African, a brother who is in control of the only superpower on this planet Earth.
Well, thank you immensely, Shaka, for giving us those insights, and we look forward even to more from you tomorrow on the special that we'll have. And stay put there and keep hope alive.
Keep hope alive, Shaka. Thank you. And of course, we have also Scott Bobb, our Southern Africa Bureau Chief, who's with us in the studio. Thank you, Scott, for being here.
Thanks a lot.